plays a role in most of our lives. It can break relationships, divide families, and yet it's often invisible. We're talking about debt and the impact it can have on not only our finances, but our relationships.
All right, licensed insolvency trustee Frida Richard joins us this morning to give us more insight on this. It's good to see you this morning, and thanks for coming in.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
All right, let's start with this new survey that was just completed right across the country. What were some of the more interesting findings that came out of this?
So I'd love to share a couple of them. So the first one is that 1 in 10 Canadians either moved in with a relative or had a relative move in with them for financial reasons alone in the last year. Now, it's no surprise that it's a much more expensive world, whether it's, going to the grocery store, filling up your gas tank, your rent increases. I mean, I could keep going. The list is quite lengthy, but it does reflect a real pressure to the household, and leaning on family sometimes makes sense to cut costs. Now, of those relatives that have moved in, most were adult children. So if you think about, that boomerang effect when we send our kids out into the world to go flourish and go thrive in life, but we see that boomerang coming back our way, we're either going to grab onto it or I guess you duck, right, and let it pass you by. But I think it reflects the real struggle that our younger generation is experiencing right now. And if moving back home helps with saving for that down payment, that makes complete sense.
And that will play into my next question, because when we often talk debt, we have to think financial terms.
Yes.
But it encompasses so much more than that.
So true. There's a part of a quote I like that says that debt rents space in your mind. So it does impact your mindset. It affects how you interact with others, especially those closest to you. So our research found that 66% of people who either gave or provided financial support to family or relatives said it had no impact on the relationship. And a further 18% said it actually had a positive impact on the relationship. So if you think about lending money, gifting money to family and relatives, things can go very wrong, right? I mean, if there isn't that, transparency up front, the clarity, the expectations are clear. Do I have to pay this back, or is this, based on a handshake? Are we signing a promissory note? So it's really important to have that clarity up front to ensure that any misunderstandings down the road aren't there.
Right.
All right, let's talk about some signs that we should all look out for, families in particular should look out for when it comes to financial stress and when it's beginning to kind of strain relationships and communication amongst family members.
Right. Yeah. So, Jeff, there are definitely some relational red flags. And probably the biggest one is an increase in conflict. So these are money arguments. Sometimes it might feel like a small argument, especially to the person getting those questions like, why the $7 daily coffee when you go through the drive-through? What about cutting out our streaming subscriptions to make some room for the budget? So things that didn't bother your spouse or partner before all of a sudden becomes a source of tension. And of course, the other red flag is physiologically. You might not be able to sleep. You maybe have more headaches, just feeling unwell. So there's this pressure valve that if you release it, that's what you need. And sometimes being honest and open with your family and relatives will help provide you that relief.
Okay. Let's talk now. Now we've set it up. We've talked the conflict and how debt does impact that and your relationships. Now let's talk practical steps that we can all take to alleviate some of that.
Right. So, the emotional support and encouragement from family isn't enough. It's important. It's not enough. You have to tackle the debt first, which is really the source of your anxiety and stress. So step 1, get informed. Get professional advice from a licensed insolvency trustee. The goal with our team across the country at Grant Thornton is to inform people of their options, the full spectrum of options, so that ultimately the goal is for the consumer to make an informed decision. And sometimes, depending on the scenario, a bankruptcy or a consumer proposal might make sense, but we're here to help you navigate through all of those, so those nuances in your circumstances. It's important that people understand that there's a solution. Reach out and we'll get you on that solution that'll put you on the path towards a brighter financial future.
Yeah, listen, so important because this can be so overwhelming to reach out and get the support and expertise that you need.
And because of that, people often avoid it. Just avoid it and put it away and don't want to discuss it.
Absolutely.
But you feel so much better when you do.
People feel embarrassed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right, Frida, we got to leave it there, but thank you so much. Appreciate you coming in this morning.
Thank you.
This portion of the morning show is brought to you by Grant Thornton Limited, licensed insolvency trustees.